I do want to give you a very brief update as to what we've been doing in our office since I became the assessor over 6 years ago. We've been working very, very closely with a number of our home ownership councils like Michigan Economic Development Association, SF Housing Development Corporation, Asia Inc., and making sure that we are constantly referring people who are on the brink of losing their homes. So what we've done is, every time there's a notice of default letter that is reported to our office, which is the beginning of the foreclosure process, they get a letter from us telling them that they are facing foreclosure and that there are nonprofit housing counselors who could assist them. Well, tenants were paying rent, and then they were actually getting locked out of their home. So what we also do now is, if we believe that property is non-owner occupied, then a letter goes to the owner at the different address, but then to the actual site address, we will send a letter letting tenants know that there are tenant counselors available for assistance, and that obviously, given the just cause laws, that just because there is a foreclosure is not a cause for eviction. I was also proud to help formulate, along with this board, the San Francisco Fair Lending Working Group, where we looked at a number of various issues in terms of predatory lending, looking at tenants' rights, looking at affordable housing, and highlighting many of the issues that you've heard of today.
Assessor-Recorder team, can I just stop you for one moment? I have to make an announcement that we've achieved a quorum of the board with 6 of the 11 of us, so I just wanted to make that announcement, but this is properly noticed as a meeting, so please continue.
Thank you. And then this working group, which is with the board, myself, back then Supervisor Maxwell, worked together to identify a number of recommendations which we as a city have continued to push for and to advocate for. And then just lastly, going back to the letter, I did want to note that the letters are in English, Spanish, and Chinese, and that in 2011 we mailed over 1,000 of these letters, and then to date we've mailed about 214 of these letters. So that just gives you an idea of what led us to this audit. Obviously, given this serious issue, not just in San Francisco, but really statewide and nationwide, we really felt compelled to take a look at our records. This is on the back of a reporter in Essex County, Massachusetts, John O'Brien, who actually commissioned the first report of its kind in the country. And what the commission with the report found was very, very similar to what we found. And part of what we wanted to look at was, let's take a look at the scope of the audit and the purpose of what it is we wanted to understand the foreclosure process and make sure that everyone understands that no matter what their mortgage is that it's easily understandable given the documents that are reported. We also wanted to create more dialogue to actually discuss with all the stakeholders, all the different government agencies, all the various community organizations, all the different lenders, to have a greater dialogue about what we could do to really fix this system. I think this report clearly shows that the system is completely broken. And our audit only encompasses land records here in our office in San Francisco County. However, what we would want to say is, chances are, because the players are not just local, but really statewide as well as national, we anticipate that many of the issues we are seeing here are probably happening up and down the state, because again, the laws are the same, we are all governed by state law, and the players are very, very similar. So just to go to the report, in California, we have what's called a non-judicial foreclosure process, which means that you can foreclose without having to go through a judge. So why is that important? It means that the process itself is very, very important to be followed. So if you're not following the process, there's really no accountability mechanism. There's no way for anybody to really provide a check. Normally what happens in other states is the judge will provide a check for the different agencies doing the foreclosure. In this state, we don't have that check. We have a 3-step process. You have a notice of default. You have a notice of trustee sale, and then the trustee deed upon sale, which is the actual transfer of the foreclosed property to the new owner. It's a 3-step process, and it's a minimum of 140 days from start to finish. And it's important to have the timing because, again, the law is all prescribed. Again, where is this a problem? If you look at your chart, you can see the red is really where most of the foreclosures are going on. Obviously, in the southeast part of San Francisco, primarily is in District 9, 10, and 11. We also have District 6, obviously, in the Tenderloin Civic Center, this area of town, where we have seen significant foreclosure issues. The yellow area is the area where we have the next highest concentration. Again, south of Market, Mission, Potrero, as well as parts of the Sunset. And so you can see that that's where the next concentration. And again, green doesn't mean nothing, but green means it's less of an issue. Fortunately, many of the people who've been mostly affected have been first-time home buyers, people who are in low to moderate income neighborhoods. So here's what we found. This is just to reiterate what Supervisor Campos said. 84% of the time, Equitas identified what appears to be at least one clear violation of law. 99% of the time, we had a violation of law or an irregularity. And an irregularity, which is not a violation of law, is something like backdating. We saw documents that were backdated 2 years. And so it's almost every single instance there was some issue. Additionally, 75% of the issues, 75% of the foreclosures actually had 3 or more issues in the general subject area. And again, this is a problem because we have a non-judicial foreclosure state. There's no accountability, so we're assuming that the foreclosures are being followed in a legal manner. Clearly, it seems that the mortgage industry has decided to compromise our land record by filing these foreclosures in a process that is not in accordance with the law. And again, this needs to be clarified. We need to make sure that the law either needs to be clarified, or we need to get increased regulation, or we need to sit down with the industry players to really understand how do we create a process that actually works for all of us. Because right now, I don't think it's working for anybody. I don't think it's working for the homeowners, I don't think it's working for the lenders, and it's definitely not working for the cities and the counties either. So what did we focus on? I'm going to have Lou Pizante from Equitas kind of go through what we focused on, as well as each
So
of the
before he starts, let me just say that Supervisor Avalos and Campos and Alagi want to make some opening remarks as well as comment on what was just presented. So Supervisor Avalos.